All right, welcome. Today we're going to dig into a world that's all around us, a world we think we know, but maybe we don't. We're about to uncover the secret lives of plants and the truly fascinating ways they get their food.
I mean, come on. We all learn this in school, right? You give a plant some sunlight, a little bit of water, and boom, it's happy. But is that really the whole picture? Is it really that simple?
Because the truth is, it's so much more complicated. The plant kingdom has come up with some seriously wild and, yeah, kind of weird strategies for survival that go way beyond that basic formula. The story is so much bigger than what we learned in biology class.
Okay, so before we get to the weird stuff, we've got to cover the basics, right? We have to establish the main rule that governs almost all plant life on our planet. Let's talk about the world's green engine, the autotrophs.
The word autotroph literally just means self-feeder, and honestly, it's a superpower. These are the organisms that can make their own food from the most basic ingredients you can imagine. We're talking about everything from a massive sequoia tree to the grass in your lawn. They're all autotrophs. So how do they pull this off? Well, they use what is probably the single most important chemical reaction on Earth, photosynthesis. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. The energy, that comes from sunlight. The ingredients, carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil. And what do you get at the end? Glucose, that's the plant's food, and a very happy byproduct for us, oxygen. And the headquarters for this whole operation? The leaf. I mean, this thing is a masterpiece of natural engineering. You've got chlorophyll, which is basically the plant's solar panel, soaking up sunlight. You've got these tiny little pores called stomata that literally breathe in the carbon dioxide. The veins are the plumbing, bringing water up and shipping the food out. And it all happens inside the palisade cells. Those are the main reactors where the magic really happens. Okay, so we've got the rules down. Plants are the ultimate chefs, totally self-sufficient. They cook for themselves. Got it. But what if I told you that some plants just can't cook at all? This, my friends, is the plot twist. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. On one side, you have the rule, the autotrophs, the self-feeders, which make up the vast, vast majority of the plant kingdom. But then you have the exception, the heterotrophs, a fascinating little minority that has to get its food from somewhere else. So what is a heterotroph? Well, it's any organism that, for whatever reason, just can't make its own food. Instead of using photosynthesis, it has to rely on other things, another living plant, an animal, or even old dead stuff. They've found a completely different way to make a living. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. These rebel plants have evolved some of the most bizarre and, frankly, ingenious strategies you'll find anywhere in nature. So let's take a quick tour of 4 of these incredible diets. So, first up on our tour of these rebels, well, this label really says it all. Let me introduce you to the thieves of the plant world. Yep, these are the parasitic plants. Their whole game plan is just brilliantly simple and kind of ruthless, honestly. Why bother making your own food when you can just steal it? They find a host plant, latch on, tap right into its plumbing system, and just start siphoning off all the food that the host worked so hard to make. You've probably even heard of one, mistletoe. That's right, the classic Christmas plant is a fief. Okay, so from the thieves, let's move on to a group that has a totally different job in the ecosystem. It's time to meet nature's cleanup crew. Now, these guys, which are mostly fungi like mushrooms and molds, are nature's ultimate recyclers. Their strategy is to feed on dead and decaying stuff. They ooze out these digestive juices that break down all that dead material into simple nutrients, which they can then just absorb. Without them, we'd literally be buried under piles of dead leaves and logs. Next up, we have the deal makers, the negotiators of the plant world. These are symbiotic relationships where 2 different organisms live together and both get something out of the deal. Take lichen, for instance. It's not one thing. It's an algae that makes food living inside a fungus that provides shelter and water. It's a perfect partnership, a classic you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours situation. All right, for our final, and maybe the most famous group of these rebels, I've got to ask you a question. We think of plants as being pretty passive, right? They just kind of sit there. So why on earth would a plant evolve to become a hunter? Well, the answer all comes down to where they live. They have a motive, and it's a desperate need for one key nutrient, nitrogen.
These plants, like the famous Venus flytrap, usually grow in really poor, swampy soil that's missing it. So the radical solution? Trap and digest insects to get their nitrogen fix. And here's the kicker, they still do photosynthesis. Hunting is just like taking a vitamin supplement to get that one thing they're missing. So, wow, we've seen a lot, right? The self-feeders, the thieves, the cleanup crew, the partners, and now the hunters. When you put all these pieces together, what's the big picture? What's the main takeaway here?
It's actually pretty simple and really powerful. Every single one of these diets, from the most basic sunbather to the most complex hunter, is a story of survival. It's proof of the incredible power of adaptation. Each plant is just doing what it has to do to survive in its own unique little corner of the world.
And that just leaves us with one last thing to think about. We've just seen how much complexity and, let's be honest, drama is hidden inside something we see every day, something as simple as a plant. So it just makes you wonder, right? What other amazing secrets is the natural world hiding from us? Right there in plain sight, just waiting for us to stop and take a closer look.